This is a deep dive podcast covering articles published on Ecogate's blog, brought to you by Ecogate, the leader in on-demand dust collection.
Dust collection runs all day, burning moss, blowing cash away. Dust collection, we got closed day, why is the airflow low and the cost so great? No more. Turn the airflow into cash flow, saving thousands and thousands with Ecogate. You watch your savings grow. Yeah!
Hey everyone, and welcome back for another deep dive.
Yeah.
Today we're going to be taking a closer look at South Shore Millwork.
Ooh, interesting.
Yeah, they're a company that's really kind of proving that sustainability and success can kind of go together, hand in hand.
Yeah, I mean, it's a really fascinating case study.
Absolutely.
They've integrated sustainable practices into like every aspect of their business.
Right, it's not just lip service.
Yeah, they're not just talking the talk, they're actually walking the walk.
Absolutely, and that's what makes this story so interesting.
It's compelling.
And we're going to be focusing a lot on their journey towards industrial efficiency.
Okay.
And particularly their use of this really interesting ventilation system from a company called Ecogate.
I've heard of them.
Yeah, and to think of this deep dive as kind of behind-the-scenes look
Whoa.
at how they're saving energy and money and the planet.
All at the same time.
All at the same time.
It's amazing what they've been able to do.
Yeah, and what's really interesting is that they've become kind of a champion for Ecogate.
Oh, wow.
Almost like a poster child.
Okay.
For how effective this technology can be in a real-world setting.
That's great.
So let's start with South Shore Millwork.
Okay.
They've been in business for over 30 years,
Wow.
crafting high-end custom millwork for some pretty impressive projects.
Yeah, like think luxury homes and, corporate spaces across the country.
Yeah, big stuff.
So we're not talking about a small operation here.
No.
This is a company with a national reach, which makes their commitment to sustainability even more impressive.
Right, and it's not just, a small footprint. They've got a big impact.
Yeah.
I was really impressed by their wood recycling program.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, even the scraps get a second life as fuel pellets.
It's awesome.
It's like they've created this closed-loop system
Right.
where nothing goes to waste.
It's a great example of a circular economy.
It is.
It's like, composting, but like on an industrial scale.
Right.
They take what would normally be discarded and turn it into something valuable
Yeah.
that can be used again.
And it's not just the wood.
Oh.
They've also implemented solvent reclamation in their finishing department.
Okay.
They're capturing like 80%
Wow.
of the solvents used and reusing them,
That's incredible.
which is huge when you think about the impact of those chemicals.
Oh, absolutely.
If they're not handled responsibly.
Right. And it also shows that they're really thinking about every single stage of their production process.
They are.
Like from start to finish.
Yeah, and then there's the solar field.
Oh, yeah. Tell me about that.
They're generating enough energy to power 194 homes.
Wow. That's a powerful image.
It is, isn't it?
It really puts it into perspective.
It does.
It's not just a few panels on the roof.
Yeah.
It's a whole field dedicated to the, harnessing the power of the sun.
And they've got a really clever way of storing that energy and banking credits.
Really?
It's like they're playing the energy game on expert level. But amidst all this, there's one specific area we're going to focus on today.
Okay.
Their dust collection system.
Interesting.
And this is where Ecogate comes in.
Okay.
Back in 2015, they decided to tackle this issue of energy waste
Yeah.
in their dust collection system.
I can imagine that's a big deal in a woodworking facility.
Huge, right? They had these massive collectors
Yeah.
that were just running constantly,
Oh.
even when they weren't needed.
That's not very efficient.
No, not at all. So what did they do?
What did they do?
Well, they did their research,
Good.
and they decided to partner with Ecogate,
Okay.
a company that specializes in on-demand ventilation systems.
So instead of those collectors running nonstop,
Right.
they installed a system that adjusts airflow based on actual need.
Exactly. So it's like a smarter, more efficient way of managing ventilation.
Yeah, like imagine sensors in each workstation
Okay.
that detect when dust is actually being produced.
Got it.
And the system automatically adjusts the airflow, ensuring optimal ventilation only when and where it's needed.
So that sounds incredibly efficient.
It is.
What were some of the key factors that led South Shore Millwork to choose Ecogate over other solutions?
Well, that's a great question, and one we'll dive into a little bit deeper as we go along.
Okay.
But I think it's safe to say that their decision was driven by a few things.
Okay.
Cost savings, for sure, environmental responsibility, and a desire to find a solution that could adapt to their needs as they evolve.
Right, so it sounds like a classic case of the stars aligning.
I think so.
But before we get too far ahead of ourselves, let's take a closer look at the nuts and bolts of this Ecogate system.
Okay.
Can you give us a little more detail on how it works in practice?
Absolutely. Their setup consists of 3 main collectors over 60 workstations and a green box master unit that acts as the control center for the entire system.
Wow, so it's like a brain.
It is,
It's controlling all of this.
Picture a bustling workshop with all these different stations.
Okay.
Each of them has a small gate that can open and close, regulating airflow.
So instead of this constant roar, you have this system that's responding to the activity in the workshop.
Right.
It's like breathing in and out.
Exactly. That's a great analogy.
As needed.
Yeah, and that responsiveness leads to some pretty significant benefits
I bet.
in terms of energy savings and how long the equipment lasts.
That's what I want to hear about. But before we get into that, let's take a moment to hear from someone who's actually been using this system day in and day out.
Good idea.
What's the word on the street, so to speak?
Yeah, is South Shore Millwork happy with their Ecogate installation?
Yeah, what do they think?
They are indeed, and I think Chris Levesque, their production manager, puts it best when he says, "It made daily use of our dust collection system easier, not being so concerned about when to turn the system on and off, not having to worry about manually opening and closing gates, and overall just being able to manipulate the system to suit the needs of everyday production requirements."
So not only is it saving energy, it's making life easier for the folks on the shop floor.
Right.
No more running around flipping switches all day.
Exactly. And, ease of use is a huge benefit, especially when you consider that South Shore Millwork has a large facility with over 60 workstations.
Right.
It just makes things run smoother.
Yeah, streamlines their operations.
Yeah.
Lets them focus on what they do best,
Exactly.
creating beautiful millwork.
Which is.
But let's get down to brass tacks.
Okay.
The savings.
Right.
Have they seen a noticeable decrease in their energy bills since installing the Ecogate system?
Oh, absolutely. They've seen some significant savings, and not just in terms of energy consumption. Remember those massive, expensive collectors we talked about earlier? Well, the Ecogate system is actually extending the lifespan of that equipment by reducing wear and tear.
Oh, that's smart.
It is.
Replacing those motors wouldn't be cheap.
No, not at all. It's a win-win for their budget and for the environment.
Absolutely.
Manufacturing new equipment has a significant carbon footprint. So extending the life of what they already have is a key aspect of sustainable manufacturing.
That's like a domino effect.
It-
One smart decision leads to another.
Right.
What's even more impressive is they've taken those savings and reinvested them in other sustainable initiatives, like electric vehicles charged by their solar farm.
Yeah, it's a perfect example of how sustainability can drive innovation and efficiency.
It is.
They're not just reducing their environmental impact, they're creating a more resilient and adaptable business.
It's a really inspiring story.
It is.
It's demonstrating that it's possible to be successful while prioritizing sustainability.
Yeah, you don't have to sacrifice one for the other.
But let's circle back to the Ecogate system for a moment. You mentioned earlier that South Shore Millwork has become a strong advocate for Ecogate.
They have.
What's behind that?
Well, Chris Levesque had this to say about their experience with Ecogate overall. "We've been happy with the system. Craig and Richard have been very responsive and helpful the past 6 months as we undergo these changes. They understood the urgency and helped us through an unfortunate circumstance when we needed a new VFD last minute."
So it sounds like it goes beyond just the technology itself.
It does.
There's a real partnership there,
There is.
a shared commitment to success.
Exactly, and I think that's a key point to highlight. Implementing a system like this isn't just about buying a piece of equipment. It's about finding a partner who understands your needs and is invested in your long-term success.
It's like they found the perfect match.
I think they did.
But their success with Ecogate raises an interesting question. Is this something that other companies can replicate? Is it a realistic model for others to follow?
I think so, absolutely. In fact, that's one of the most exciting aspects of this case study. It provides a blueprint for other companies, particularly those in the manufacturing sector who are looking to improve their sustainability practices.
So it's not just about South Shore Millwork.
Right.
It's about the potential for a broader impact.
Exactly. And I think their story offers some valuable lessons for anyone who's interested in making their business more sustainable. It demonstrates that sustainability isn't just a feel-good initiative. It can be a smart business strategy that leads to cost savings, increased efficiency, and a more resilient operation.
So what are some of the key takeaways from South Shore Millwork's journey that our listeners can apply to their own businesses or workplaces?
That's a great question, and one we'll explore more fully as we wrap up this deep dive. But I think one of the most important takeaways is the power of a holistic approach.
Okay. I'm intrigued. Tell me more.
Okay, well, South Shore Millwork didn't just focus on one area of their business. They looked at everything from material sourcing to energy consumption to waste reduction. They adopted a systems thinking approach, recognizing that every aspect of their operation is interconnected.
So it's not just about installing solar panels or switching to energy-efficient light bulbs.
Right.
It's about looking at the big picture and finding ways to create a truly sustainable ecosystem.
You got it. And that kind of thinking can be applied to any business or organization, regardless of size or industry. It's about asking questions, challenging assumptions, and finding creative solutions that benefit both the bottom line and the planet.
I love that.
Me too.
It's about shifting our mindset from a take-make-waste model to a more circular and regenerative approach.
Exactly.
But let's bring this back to the listener. What are some concrete steps they can take to start implementing a more holistic approach to sustainability in their own lives or workplaces?
Well, that's a fantastic question, and one that we'll delve into more deeply as we wrap up this episode. But I think a great place to start is by simply by taking a step back and assessing their current practices.
Okay.
Where are the biggest areas of waste?
Right.
What are the most energy-intensive processes? Are there opportunities to source materials more sustainably?
Yeah, it's about identifying those low-hanging fruit.
Exactly.
Those areas where even small changes can make a big difference.
Right. And then it's about finding solutions that align with your specific needs and goals. Maybe it's investing in energy-efficient equipment like South Shore Millwork did with their Ecogate system.
Right.
Or maybe it's exploring ways to reduce packaging waste or incorporate recycled materials into your products.
So it sounds like it's all about finding those creative solutions
It is.
that make sense for your business and contribute to a larger purpose.
Exactly.
And their story is such a great example of how businesses can be both successful and sustainable
Absolutely.
without sacrificing one for the other.
It's not an either-or proposition.
Right.
Sustainability can be a powerful driver of innovation and efficiency,
Yeah.
leading to cost savings, improved employee morale, and a stronger brand reputation.
It sounds like South Shore Millwork is really leading by example,
They are.
showing that sustainable practices can actually be a win-win
They can.
for businesses and the planet.
A win-win for everyone.
Absolutely. This deep dive has been truly inspiring.
It has.
It's encouraging to see companies like South Shore Millwork embracing sustainability
Yeah.
and proving that it's not just good for the planet,
Right.
it's good for business.
It's good for everybody.
Well said. So for our listeners who are feeling inspired
Yeah.
and want to learn more, where can they go to dig a little deeper?
Well, you can find out more about South Shore Millwork and their incredible craftsmanship on their website, southshoremillwork.com.
Great. And if you're curious about Ecogate and their on-demand ventilation systems, be sure to check out their website for case studies, technical details, and resources for businesses looking to improve their energy efficiency and sustainability.
It's a wealth of information
It is.
for anyone who wants to learn more.
Well, that wraps up another deep dive.
It does.
We've explored the fascinating journey of South Shore Millwork.
A company that's proving that sustainability and success can go hand in hand.
Absolutely. They've shown us that it's possible to make responsible choices
Yes.
that are good for the planet and good for business.
Absolutely.
We hope you found this deep dive inspiring and informative.
I hope so.
Remember, we can all make a difference.
We can.
Let's learn from South Shore Millwork's example and work together to create a more sustainable future.
Let's do it.
Until next time, keep exploring,
Yes.
keep learning, and keep diving deep.
See you then. See you then.